Shred and Ragan Super Bowl coverage is brought to you by Jansen Motorsports. Stop by for great deals on remaining 07 and 08 snowmobiles and ATVs. Transit Road right off the 400. And Labatt Blue Light, a refreshing beer from a refreshing place. And official sponsor of Mardi Gras 2009. Get involved at shredandreagan.com. And now, live from Tampa Bay, Florida, for Super Bowl 43, it's the Shred and Ragan Show on 103.3 The Edge.
Joe Theisman is with us here at Super Bowl 43. And an amazing career. I want to go to one particular game that made it to NFL's greatest games of all time. ESPN runs it. NFL Films also put it together. Greatest games of all time. And it was you, the Redskins, going up against the San Francisco 49ers, early 80s. And as I read that, 49ers are still whining and complaining about that game.
Ronnie Lott always gripes about the fact that he didn't feel like he held, I think, Art on the particular pass play. And he did. And I always tell him this, look, you held him the entire game and they never called it. You finally got caught once and you're griping about it. You lost the game, get over it, will you? I mean, it was an unbelievable football game, though. We beat them 24-21 at our place. But we had like a 21-point lead for the longest time. And then all of a sudden, Joe Montana got into one of his magic spells in the second half and threw for almost 300 yards in that half of the game. So it was a tremendous football game. And what I found, that was one of my, that was the second time we've been able to play. We beat the Cowboys to get to the Super Bowl the first time, and then we beat San Francisco the second time. But what I found is that the speed of each of those playoff games changed. Everything got faster. Everything got quicker. All the players seemed like they were moving faster. And it just happens. And this game is going to be at a speed where some of the guys that haven't been here have never experienced it before. So it does change.
Right. Joe Theisman is with us, Shred and Ragan Show here at The Edge. Joe, you played some time in the CFL as well. Yep. You think that helped your game at all?
I think it helped me keep my ability to be able to throw the football sharp. It gave me a chance to play. It gave me a chance to work on game management at the professional level. So, and the size of the field is different, the rules are different, but it's still throwing, it's still catching, it's still running, it's still operating an offense, and it's still managing the clock.
Right.
Those are things that I was able to do on a day-to-day basis. Whereas if I had come and sat in the National Football League for 3-4 years, how long does it take you to get up to speed and back to where you were when you came out of college?
Right. It had to help Doug Flutie. It was the same thing.
I think it helped Doug.
One of my partner's favorite quarterbacks,
Warren Moon.
Doug Flutie. Warren Moon.
Doug's one of my favorites. I love the fact Doug's one of those. Doug is one of those guys that nobody ever gave any credit to. They always made excuses for why he could never do anything, and all he ever did was prove everybody wrong that he could play at a very high level.
Listen, you can make the case that if he had been playing in that game, home run throwback with the Buffalo Bills, as opposed to Rob Johnson, we might have been in a playoff.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
We
might have been in a,
I did that.
Well, it was wild card, but it might have moved on in the playoffs.
There's no question that Wade got pressure from management. There's no way that Rob should have started that football game.
Right.
Doug should have been the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, you've always said that.
But you had to find out.
I never said that, but I'm not a Flutie fan. He's just trying to rib me here. I'm a Chicago Bears fan.
Well, then you got problems.
I got problems. Yeah.
You don't have a quarterback,
and we never have.
You would like to see Doug. Doug passed through Chicago.
Yeah, I know. He choked
had
in
a
that
cup
one
of coffee.
play.
That's why
I remember.
He can't stand him.
Had a cup of coffee there.
But he was a young player.
Well, you know what? I was a big Redskins fan as a kid, because as a Bears fan, struggling through all those years of bad teams, you had to kind of reach out and root for somebody else. My brother was a Dolphins fan. I went for the Redskins. So, you talk about Sonny Jurgensen, Billy Kilmer. One of my favorite running backs back in the day was Larry Brown.
Larry Brown.
Did you play with Larry?
I played with Larry. As a matter of fact, Larry was an MVP of the league. Larry was an MVP of the National Football League.
My first jersey was Larry Brown.
He winds up, George Allen wore him out. So when I got there, he was basically playing fullback, and he was so quick. You got the ball out, and it would be like Jaws. It would be like a great white going by. And if you didn't get your hand out of the way in a hurry, he'd take that with you. He ran with such power. And truly was one of those unique runners where he punished himself more than anybody that ever hit him, and that's why he had such a short career. But he was unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not sure he gets the recognition he deserves.
No, he doesn't. Well, a lot of those players during that era don't. The George Allen era, they were an old group of guys. I mean, when I crossed the picket line in '74 and crossed the strike, I alienated a lot of players on that old football team. They didn't like me very much, and that sentiment carried over for a lot of years.
A couple of the linemen let a few guys through on you.
Well, I'll tell you a true story. I don't know whether they did it on purpose, but I'll give you the guy's name. Terry Hermeling was a left tackle for me during that era.
Right.
And we're playing somebody one day, and all of a sudden, I just get ear-holed by a defensive end. And
to get ear hold is what? The thumb into the ear hole?
No, it's like the helmet into your. They're trying to stick their helmet through the ear hole of your helmet. Okay?
All right. Wow.
Believe me, it doesn't fit, but it leaves an impact.
Well, especially with that little bar, it might fit better. I don't know.
So now all of a sudden, it happens once, it happens twice. So the next time, third time it happens, I'm looking at Terry, and he's standing there, and he's got his arms open, and he says, "Didn't you hear me yell, look out?" I'm saying, no, I'm preoccupied with survival. So I don't know whether they did it on purpose or not, but we've had instances.
Joe Theisman is with us, Shred and Ragan Show here at the Edge. Joe, let's talk about another running back. At one time, you criticized the Argonauts for taking on Ricky Williams.
Absolutely.
Have you changed at all about? No? Okay.
I don't change my sentiment at all. As a matter of fact, the owner of the Argonauts was upset with me, called me. I called the organization classless. Maybe I went to an extreme with it, but it didn't show a whole lot of class to me to sign a guy who the NFL wouldn't allow to play. I have a great amount of respect and pride that I was a Toronto Argonaut. Matter of fact, I said, I hope they take the A off my helmet, which they did in the first game on the big Jumbotron in the Toronto Dome. The A, my quote came up, and the A got wiped off. I mean, they did a really beautiful graphic job with it, to be honest with you. But I just felt like, he's not allowed to play here, so you're going to go play in the other league. What do we stand for in the Canadian Football League? They're great players up there, great organizations, and I was upset with the fact that Toronto Argonauts would do that and take that kind of a player.
Right.
Now, I don't blame Ricky.
Right.
It's the organizations that take the players. It's not the player wanting to keep on playing. It's the organizations that say, okay, come and play for us.
Let me throw this at you. Since this time, Ricky Williams has played much better and resurrected a career. And maybe by going to the CFL, that helped him. If that's the case, doesn't that change your opinion?
No, it doesn't. I think that the fact that he was suspended from the National Football League and was not allowed to play, and the Canadian Football League said, "Oh, well, we're going to take your castaways," I felt was not very, very classy. I didn't feel like it represented what I believe the CFL is all about. True professional football. That was not a professional decision in the way I looked at it. I don't change my mind.
Joe Theisman is with us. When you watch both quarterbacks, Kurt Warner and Ben Roethlisberger, who's the tougher of the two?
Oh, they're both tough. That man, you cannot pick between the two. You can punch Kurt in the mouth 15 times and he's going to get up.
Right. I think the Eagles did that too.
And you can bend Ben over 50 times and he's going to get up. Kurt, the difference in him, you're going to have to go chase Ben to hit him. You're going to hit him once, and then you're going to have to go chase him to hit him again. Kurt, you can hit because he's not going very far from anywhere.
That's true. He's not very mobile.
He's pretty stationary, but gets the ball out of his hands quickly.
Yeah, Warner's really seemed to have gotten better against the blitz. We've seen
he knows where it is. He understands. He has a great understanding of where it comes from, and that's why in this game, I'm leaning towards Pittsburgh in this game because I'm not sure he's going to be able to identify exactly where everything is coming from. I will say this: the Cardinals have a little bit of an advantage in so much that their offensive line coach is Russ Grimm, who was the offensive line coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers just a couple of years ago. So he's worked against Dick LeBeau's defenses. So his guys, if they get beat, it's not because they don't know. It's going to be because they were physically beat by somebody else.
Joe Theisman is with us. Last thing, Joe, you have the Super Bowl ring on?
I got my rings on today. I
Look
wore
at
them
that.
for you today.
I got to take a picture here.
We've been trying to get all the rings going.
There they are.
That's amazing. Look at that.
This is the Shred and Ragan Show, live from Tampa Bay at Super Bowl 43. Brought to you by Jansen Motorsports and Labatt Blue Light. The Shred and Ragan Show on 103.3 The Edge.